All right, hey everyone, I have another great coaching video for you. Today we're working with someone who's very busy. They have a full-time job, they have kids, they have a billion responsibilities, and she's trying to figure out how to finish her book, but is finding that it's really challenging. So I'm giving her a lot of tips today about how to manage her time and really how to think about the first draft process when you're busy, and especially when you don't have time to make everything perfect, which none of us have time to make everything perfect, right? So this should be really helpful for everyone. If you're struggling to write and finish your book, we have coaching available here at The Right Practice. I'll put the link in the description, but you can just go to therightpractice.com/coaching and you can get some help and feedback on how to make progress on your book. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, it really helps. And let's jump right into it.
I
Yeah.
think I'm having a little bit of trouble with, I got two little kids, and as you know how that works. And like from two on, I'm busy till 10 at night.
Yeah.
And then during the day, I have to work, but I can allot time, which is what I intended to do. But lately, I've been sitting there going, oh my gosh. And I think,
When you say lately, you've been sitting there saying, oh my gosh, what do you mean?
meaning I'm not writing.
Yeah.
So I just
Is that
feel
because
like,
you don't have time, or because when you show up to the page, you're like, this is the worst?
oh, I think that anyway, but I'm willing to go ahead with it. It's just that I feel like I'm all over the map. Like I did this, which won't look like anything to you, but it was helpful because I'm kind of a visual
Great. I love that.
And I think just, like an example of how you would go through an act one. That way, I do have certain scenes in mind. It's not like and I do think the feedback was very helpful in that I'm writing all exposition. I know what an inciting incident is. I
Yeah.
know what all that is, but I get that as I'm starting this, that I'm tending to do that.
Okay.
This idea, and I don't know if you remember what it is. It's about a young girl. I wrote a short story about this. My writing teacher was like, oh my God, this is it. This is
Yeah.
what you need to write about. And what he meant was just finish the short story, of which I have not done in 10 years. Right?
Okay.
Familiar? It's okay. It's nice writing,
Yeah.
but it's a good story. It's a really good story. I cry every single time. You would cry. My friends cry. Like everybody cries. It's a good story. She wants to live with her dad. That's all she wants to do. Her mom's a little off. Mom's mentally ill. Her stepdad's a jerk. And he never comes. And she wonders why. So I get what you're saying. When you're saying these things, I do when I go back. It's just that when I'm writing, I'm like, okay, there's 10,000 words that that's not going to work out. But the good news is that when I do force myself to get in there, I may be writing about stuff and stuff does unfold and the story
Yeah.
does there. I can see how that process of discipline. But I think for me with the time element, I do really have a time issue, and I probably should have started this in the summer when my kids are kind of doing all sorts of things, but maybe just knowing how you build that act one. When we started this program, one thing is I thought we were going to start and we're going to work on the book plan so that everybody was already they knew what they were doing. And so I already felt behind, but that's okay. It's okay. I'm in for the process. I'm in for the process.
So it sounds like there's a couple of things going on, right?
Yeah.
One, just kind of maybe figuring out the structure just in general, which it seems like you've done a lot of work on, which is great.
Trying, yeah.
Two, just how you write a scene and how you and also the tension between writing scenes and kind of discovering the story. So it seems like you're doing some discovering, but you're not necessarily feeling like those scenes are going somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. And then just finding time. So let's dive into this novel plan. Let's just start with the premise though. Okay. After her parents' divorce, a 9-year-old girl is desperate to live with her father as her mother's mental illness begins to take center stage. So yeah, this is great. And you're working on your first draft though, right?
Yes, I'm working on my first draft.
How many words are you in so far?
It says 20,000, but I'm probably under that. I have a few scenes that could be revised at some point that would be meaningful, but the rest feels like vomit all over.
So it sounds like you're writing a book. I mean, that's what I'm hearing.
Okay. I had no idea. I had a friend, just really quick, I had a friend that I met with. She goes, "Oh my gosh, you're trying that book." She goes, "You're doing The Thing." And I said, "Oh, did you do the right practice?" She goes, "No." And I go, "It's really hard." She goes, "Yeah, I quit." It's like, you might want to look at the right practice. They won't let me quit. I've tried to quit like 3 times. Like, you might want to check this program out. She was like, "Oh my God, it's so hard. I quit. I'm done."
It's really hard.
It's hard. But I mean, I think for me, part of this is there's a cathartic thing. I do have several other stories in mind, but for me, I
Yeah,
think
it's-
this is
Yeah.
I think I have an idea how it works. It's not like I'm totally in the dark. One thing Alice said is, because this is a mental thing, you might want to have a performance situation in there, like, or some sort of like more action oriented
Hmm.
stuff, which is interesting.
Let me come back to that
Okay.
about what the story type is and what you need to really focus in on. Because I think that is important. But let's just talk for a second about time.
Okay.
Because that's important and it's hard specifically in your season of life. So you want to write, it says 700 or 800 words every day.
And I think that's doable if I have
Yeah.
a
How's
direction.
that going so far? I mean, you've been doing this for a while. What week are we in of the 100-day book program?
The 4th or 5th.
Okay.
4th or 5th.
You're
I
doing
know it's a good.
great.
but-
I mean, really, like, you're more than on track. How many words do you want to write?
I think it was like the recommended was 80,000.
Okay.
I feel like I should write 90 though, because I see a lot of stuff that can
Sure.
be out. And I know that happens with those second draft.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Okay. So I think if you wrote 80,000 in 100 days, when you have 2 kids in the middle of the school year and your life is crazy, you would feel incredible about that.
Yeah, I would. I felt good about when I started.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt good. Yeah.
So one thing to keep in mind is, like, 20,000 words in, this is starting to lose its novelty, right?
Yes. Yes.
We're like a third of the way through the program and it gets less exciting, and also you're like, okay, 5 weeks and now I'm only 20,000 words in. I have 60,000 more words to write. What am I doing here? How am I going to do this? I have so much more to go, and I think that it's very normal to feel overwhelmed at this stage.
Yeah.
Christina, regardless of whether you have a lot going on in your life or not.
Yeah.
This is a hard part of the book writing process right now, for the next 6 or 7 weeks, really.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
But if you can keep showing up.
Yeah. Little by little. In 700 to 800 words is not that hard for me to do. It's not that hard. When I get there, I start going off on tangents that might not be relevant to the book. And that
Right. So
that kind of bugs me.
One of the things I just want you to remember is that the first draft is a discovery process.
Okay.
The number one goal is to discover.
Okay.
All right. And so going off on the tangents is part of the process, and it's okay.
Okay.
Now, the second draft is going to be hard because of that.
Yeah.
You got to take all the tangents and bring it in, and it might feel like a full rewrite when you get to the second draft.
Okay.
But
that's
we
good
don't
to
worry.
know.
We don't worry about that right now. Okay. Right now, we focus on showing up every day for the next 6 or 7 weeks when it's hard, because the last couple of weeks you're going to be excited again, just like it was at the beginning. You were excited.
Yeah.
It felt meaningful. It's going to feel like that again at the end. So really, like, this middle part, you just have to be disciplined.
Okay.
Really.
Yeah.
And it's hard and no fun and feels like you're not making any progress, but you keep doing it. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, here I am. You know, I didn't think I could do this, but I'm here. Right.
I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Just finishing something. I mean, I haven't even finished that dumb short story that I actually really like. And the ending does need some work. And I'm just like, meh. So I think there's a lot of energy behind me wanting to just do
do it.
Yeah.
First drafts, we don't worry about quality. We don't worry about whether it's all going to work for the second draft. We don't worry about tangents. We worry about putting frickin' words on the frickin' page. Seriously. You know? That's it. That's all you have to do.
Okay.
Because you can't control right now whether they're good words or bad words, or whether they work for your story or not. Like, you just, that's not something you can control right now. All you can do is show up.
Show up. Okay.
You know?
Okay. That takes pressure off, because I mean, I think I'm a better writer than what's on the page. I mean, I don't think.
Yeah, we don't talk about better or worse.
Yeah, I think I'm a better writer. Okay, so I think I could do better, but at the same time, I just want to get the thing.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I want to get the thing on the page, the situation, the whatever, so that there's something. Yeah.
We don't talk about better or worse. We don't talk about whether it works in the story or not. We just get words on the page. You know, I hopefully, like, you're staying on the same topic, right? Or the same story. Like, that would be good.
Moving to my second idea, which is the British thing. Okay, no, I'm have a little more discipline than that, which is good.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's how it goes for most people. There is a way to meticulously structure scenes and write them perfectly-ish, or, you know, in the right track. And then the second draft process is very easy. But most people, it's more like you're exploring, especially when you're writing a story that involves some things that you experienced in life. There's a lot of like plumbing of memory that just is difficult, you know, for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
Both because you're remembering it, maybe it was traumatic and you're reliving some of that, or it takes time to bring out the details of that stuff. I think it's okay to not write exactly on the outline. It's really good that you did all that outlining work. And if you're going off on tangents, go off on a tangent, give yourself permission. And then when you've followed that thread, bring it back to the next thing on your list. And that's
so would you like, is that how some people, you know, do it? They just kind of make a list of that, and then you just kind of explore that idea.
Exactly. That's what I would do.
Okay.
If I were, I mean, that's what I did when I was writing memoir, right? For Crowdsourcing Paris, that's what I did.
Yeah. Okay.
And then even now, like, you'll be working on an idea and you know where it's going, and then this other thing occurs to you, and you kind of have to follow these things. And over time, as you practice, you will develop a nose for the dead ends and the things that could be really cool, right? And right now, you won't know that until you've done it 50 times, right? Until you've run into 50 brick walls and you're like, oh, that didn't actually work. Let me go back to where I was, you know? And so some of this is just practice, right? You just got to go down those trails and see where they lead and discover, and then bring it back. And in your second draft, you salvage what you can, and what you can't, you cut. And that's just part of the deal. You know?
That's just how it works. Okay. That is actually good to know, because what it sounds like from, you know, a beginner's viewpoint is that the bulk of it is on the page, the first draft. And I mean, some people, maybe it is, I'm not saying that, but, you know, I guess I was just trying to like make it better so that the rewrite, I like that idea of just discovery. Okay.
And I think too, like, for future reference, that's one reason why I never show first drafts to people. It's a little bit tricky because you want to get feedback on your writing and make it better, but I work with so many writers, some of whom have done MFA programs and gotten a lot of feedback on their writing. And in the middle, when you're getting feedback in the middle, like, it can be completely derailing, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Because
I
you
can
want to go
imagine.
back and fix things and make it
Yes.
good, and you get worried about whether you're a good writer or not, and you look at your writing, that your new writing, which is very necessary, you have to explore, right? And you
Yeah.
look and then you're like, oh, that's not as good as that thing that I was 1,000 words and it wasn't quite finished, but those 1,000 words, I worked on them, you know, I did 5 drafts on them and they were awesome, but it doesn't really matter because I didn't finish the short story, you know? And so you just end up polishing something that doesn't work because it's not finished and you get
Right.
stuck,
Yeah.
right?
And I keep going back. I swear my first draft was always in my mind. I mean, it needed some work, but the thing that you said about write from your heart, I think I know that sounds all wishy-washy. I know, I mean, there's so many parts about it. Like I
Yeah.
get the discipline, I get this, I get honing your craft and your words, but I mean, I always feel like my bet is when I just and do the heart thing. So I don't know. I guess that was just permission to just get going and just write. Permission to just put it on the page, whatever
Exactly.
that is.
That's what you
Yeah.
have to do.
Okay. Okay. And then I mean, in looking at that thing, did you get that thing, that swirly thing where I put all
The
the,
story
I mean,
arc.
does
Yeah.
that seem like something to work? I mean, I just go through each of these. I mean, obviously that's not enough. I don't believe this is enough, but I feel like it's enough to get started.
I mean, I think you're getting this stuff and it feels like it's working for you. So keep doing this.
I just
Don't
need to,
overthink it.
yeah. I think I just need to, and that it's okay when at the end, I think that's it. I'm such a, in my work and stuff, I have to have a plan and get to that plan and get the results. It's PR. So like I have to have certain number of writers cover our story and like do all this stuff. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a goal in mind, but I mean, maybe I just need to flow a little bit. It's hard for me to flow. I mean, it's not hard for me to flow, but it's a little bit with this because I'm thinking
So,
there has to be something at the end of this.
so in the
And there
same
will
way,
be.
you can't control the results in your job, right? You can't
Yeah, that's true.
get
Yeah,
Time Magazine to cover
right,
your client,
right.
but you can show up, you can do your job, which is
Yeah,
to show up, do your pitches,
yeah,
write
for
your
sure.
press releases really
Yeah.
well as best as you can. And to a certain extent, art is outside of our control,
Yeah,
right?
I understand. Yeah, for sure.
There are
Well,
elements of this that are beyond us.
yeah.
And our job is to show up
Hmm.
and put in our words and try to hit the 6 things, and do some planning on the beginning, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And finish, really, like finish.
I mean, that would be, if I could do that, no matter what it ends up being, I really do think that would, for me personally, that would be amazing. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't even finish my dumb short story.
Yeah.
So that would feel pretty amazing. Okay, then I'm gonna be less, I'm just gonna go. I just
Good.
gotta show up and do that and
Love it.
write. Okay.
That's all you have to do.
Okay.
Now we're going to come back to some different ingredients for your next draft. The rules change for draft 2.
Number 2. Okay.
But for draft 1, really, it's just like putting in the time, doing some work on the front end, doing some of this planning, but also just like getting it out there. And then draft 2, then we pull it together a little bit more.
Okay. It turns out it's all hard, no matter what.
That's right. That's right. Now you know
Now I know.
how books work.
Yeah, that's good.
All hard.
That's good.
But you know what? Like, it's also fun and you're doing good work, and enjoy the discovery process because it's fun, Like, if you let it just be what it is, it can be really fun. It's
Yeah.
when you get all perfectionistic or you're having expectations that it needs to be this when we're just starting here, that's when it gets hard and not fun.
Yeah, the
So,
result that like the expectations on results on like
can't
what
focus
I'm
on the
supposed to
result.
have. But yeah, that gets hard. But no, I think I think I can show up and put something on the page, and
Good.
I think
Maybe
I
you
can do that. Yeah.